Hello, Zara.
Good evening.
Audio sound okay to you?
Sounds so far? Yeah, sounds good. Looks like they want me to stream this to Discord as well.
Yeah, the whole preview thing, sync the commentary and whatnot.
Hopefully my quality's good.
Well, it's an SNES game. It's gonna be fine regardless. I can speak a little louder if that would help. Let me make sure that there's enough of a volume sample to work with here. You say I'm at 200%. Let me crank it a little on my side. Alright, I have done some boosting. Let's see how that works and make sure it's a good enough sample to actually tell. Take it back down, I am clipping. Alright. I have backed off. And it did not make me any louder on stream. Okay, well.
I'm working on it now.
Fair enough. I just like to actually make sure he's got an audio sample he can work with, because when you ask for a change and people go silent, that's the hardest thing of all to work with.
Okay, Discord audio is Mac.
Universe, if you hadn't been available, I was gonna try for some Mystic Quest shenanigans.
That would have been cool.
Discord at max, so let's see how we are doing here. Try and test it out, make sure we got a good sample, and maybe you want to say a word or two, Czar, just to check that.
Right, mic test 1 2 1 2 mic test. Mic test 1 2 1 2 mic test. I have lowered slightly. Okay, check confirmed.
Diesel says that that is better. I have not heard Czar speak in a minute, so let's just be sure that I can hear Czar.
Test 1 2 test. Can you hear me, Trenton? I think I might need a.
Alright, let me reconnect to voice.
Can you hear me, Trenton?
Let's see if that improved. And it would seem not.
I'm going to reconnect as well. Give me one moment. I will establish stream as soon as I get back. Test 1 2 mic test.
That's it.
stream restored? Do I still have audio?
All set, looks like.
Okay, yeah, I can hear Trenton.
Classic tech support. Turn it off, turn it back on again.
You know, how does that works every time? I do have SG chat up as well, so I'll be able to communicate through there if needed. Okay, yeah, I think everything checks out from my end here. Confirming I still have audio.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Game sound effects, one moment. I've changed the screen.
Yeah, if anything, I think that's quieter. So, should be fine.
Okay, good. Oh yeah, mic test 1 2, 1 2 mic test 1 2. Thank you for giving me the slot, Fiesel, and thank you, Trenton, for letting me know that this was available.
Seemed like a good way to have some fun on a Sunday night. So obviously, I have notes of various information about the game that I can call upon as needed.
Right, we're going to be starting from the save file that's at 1950 as aforementioned.
Yeah. This should match now, Fiesel. I double checked. I aim to please.
He does. He's got some really nice notes that he shared with me.
I certainly can say a little bit more. As someone who has done a lot of audio setup over the years, I realize the value of having somebody actually talk and say something that can be used to adjust volumes with. So I believe I have done a reasonable amount now that you should have a good sample.
Yes, give me one moment. Game volume has been reduced and microphone has been reduced. quick sound check on the audio there for the sound input. Am I still here?
Yep, I'm just on push to talk and waiting for the all clear.
Okay.
Computer died, oh no, that is unfortunate, and you have asked for more talking again, so here I am talking again, and I think that'll be a pretty good sample of me talking again for you to work with. Go for it, Czar!
Test mic 1 2, mic 2 1 test. I've reduced the game volume and my microphone audio as requested. Thank you, Fiesel. Lower mic, can do. Mic has been lowered an additional 4 decibels.
If I'd had more time to prep it, I think another interesting idea for the marathon would have been to have a 4 chat fiesta where chat gets to vote for the job class.
Thank you, Fiesel, for the sound check. Appreciate it. I'm all set.
I think we're good to go.
Good evening, Speed Gaming, and welcome to SNES SuperStars. We bring you SimCity 800K population speedrun this evening. I am Czar, I'll be your runner this evening. I'm joined by Triton in the booth this evening. How are you, Triton?
I'm fine, it's quite the comfy booth.
Hope so. This is kind of an obscure speedrun, but there's a lot of really cool stuff going on, so we're going to dive right into it here. We're going to be starting from a save file to obtain the fountain gift, which is very important in this run.
There's several gifts. We'll be seeing a good number of them in this run, I believe.
First thing we want to do is lower the tax rate. We're going to be using the money cheat for this run.
Ah yes, money in SimCity, the classic problem of the noob beginner who doesn't understand how money works. As so SimCity, a lot of it is setting up the zones. Czar is counting out his squares, which is hard to do while talking because, you know, math while live on Twitch and all that. But setting up these blocks, I believe you said this is a variant of the donut method, as they call it, where you build the squares around in a cluster.
That's correct. This is going to ensure that all these zones reach maximum land value and top out.
You call it the Czar shift method. Interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool later on.
Also, Chad, if all goes well, we're going to end up destroying this city with a series of disasters, so you've got that to look forward to. There will be mayhem.
Who doesn't like mayhem?
13 mayhem. Czar, looks like your timer didn't start.
Uh-oh. Okay, timer's going. Sorry about that.
Alright, right, so obviously, part of what's going on here is you have to zone the land for what is going to be built there. So we've got our commercial, we've got our residential, there will be parks and whatnot. And the funny thing is I'm now getting texts, DMs telling me about the timer after we've already fixed it. That just amuses me. Chat doubts us, Sar. Chat asked if this is a version where Bowser is a monster. That does in fact match one of the disasters that are in my notes.
That's correct. Bowser is quite monstrous.
And I believe that's a nuclear power plant?
That is, yes. They are infinitely more efficient than the coal in this game.
What level difficulty are we playing on? Because as I understand, there's easy, medium, hard.
This is easy to minimize the chance of the disasters happening.
And also in that mode, the nuclear power plants do not melt down, is my understanding.
I think there's still a very slim chance.
Okay, sure. Why not? We love you, chat. Everybody just wants to make sure the run goes well. So at the moment, what we have here is village. And a village is when the population is between 0 and 2,000. I don't know how accurate that is to real life, but it sounds viable enough to me. Actually, I'm guessing village classification even goes to higher populations than that.
I believe so, demographically.
And I think more than anything, it's just sort of, it's whatever we call them. So as long as we call them a village, they are a village. Well, that's a lot of trees.
Yeah, we want part to maximize the land value, especially around the commercial zones.
I mean, that's pretty true to real life. If ever you want to see a nature preserve, at least in the state of Florida, go look near a power plant. I guarantee you there's one there.
Chrono approves.
You mentioned this earlier, but we started in year 50 so that you would be able to get a fountain. Let's make it a hype moment when you actually place the fountain. Oh, is that the fountain?
Yeah, it's there.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's get this thing started here. As you can see, there's a lot of really unorthodox rails being used here, but this actually maximizes the amount of rail needed to connect all the zones. We have a fire department, but I've not powered that up. It's going to serve its intended function without being powered up, and we'll see later there are a lot more air zones that do that as well.
Being connected to the grid, really that's optional, I think. And we've added a stadium.
Yeah, we're going to drop the stadium here, or the residents will start demanding that.
People love their sports ball. Chat, what's your favorite sports ball?
Gotta say baseball. And that's going to be a quick 10K.
All right, that elevates us now to a town. Actually, from town to city if we've got over 10,000. We missed the town. Sorry, chat, I let you down. I apologize.
Oh, you never let me down, Triton. It's all good. Things are moving fast and furious here. There's going to be a crucial moment of the run coming up here. We're going to have to activate the money cheat to continue. That's going to allow us to build freely without having to worry about our budget anymore. And you kind of have to set it up just right, or it can rip the run.
Alright, Czar's on serious mode, so there's a lot of gifts that unlock when you do in various achievements. Most of them have positive benefits without giving you negative ones. That's one of the major advantages to them. The fountain, for example, that Czar got gives him $100 a year with no
Yes.
drawbacks.
Also raises land value exponentially. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can get the money cheat.
So the effort of the game is to make the tax values pretty realistic, because people don't like paying high tax values, but if you don't have enough taxes, then paying for stuff is hard. But, you know, it's a game.
Okay, the money cheat has been activated. The run will continue.
That's a fair bit of money, especially for 1951.
Yes, we're going to be doing a lot with that shortly. Placing our airport and seaport there for maximum efficiency. Neither one of those is going to be powered up. Both of those serve their intended functions without being powered up.
And obviously the game is meant to give you a bunch of hints to help you along the way. Maybe not always the most useful, but they exist. But we can see the residents of this city are starting to build stuff up as we go along, so that's what we want them to do. More building, more money. More population.
That's the goal here. We want it to go as high as it can.
The 300K means we are in the metropolis territory. We skipped right over capital along the way. This does go quick.
Capital will be at 50K. Metropolis is 100K.
Oh, I misplaced a zero when I was reading that. So at 30, we're still at a city. Okay, 50K for capital.
Don't divide by zero, Triton.
Don't do math while live on Twitch, it'll always betray you. Okay, chat. Don't dox yourself on this. Other than your home city, what city have you been to that had the best park you've ever been to? This could be whatever you care to define park as, but just any city you visited, you're like, man, that's a nice park. That can be a zoo. That can be just a casual dog park. Whatever you care to define it as. Just any city you visited, the nicest park you've ever visited. In my case, it was Richmond, Virginia. I don't recall the exact name of it, but It was this really huge nature preserve, had a nice Japanese Zen garden in it. It was a really nice place to visit.
I'm going to pick up the PDHQ there. I placed that strategically at the corner there to maximize the amount of police radius.
There's a total of 3 police headquarters that become available in the run based on the number of police departments that you build. They do cost $100 a year to maintain, though.
Yeah, they will give you double the radius of the regular police station. And if you overlap them with the police stations like I've done there, you can get an even higher police radius out of it and efficiency.
So you built the Expo, which required a seaport and an airport, and that just has the positives of raising land values without having any negatives.
Our next target is going to be 50K here.
Getting real close to being a capital.
Zones are starting to top out there. You saw 2 zones became 1.
It's a capital! Hooray! Here's another oddball question, chat. What's your favorite capital letter?
Gotta be G.
I mean, for gaming purposes, that's a pretty good one.
Oh, look at this. We got the bug here. I love it. I was hoping to display this. Right here at these 2 commercial zones I've highlighted here, they were trying to form into a top zone, but because of their exact location, it's bugged out and it will never allow them to top out.
Meaning they can get more space there than they should?
No, it's just kind of a cool little bug to point out. It's actually a bit of a detriment because you want top zones all over the map.
Okay.
We're going to turn on our auto budget now, so we don't have to worry about our tax screen anymore. We're going to be looking for
2 years into the run.
I'm going to be looking for about 65K population next, and then I'm going to start a huge phase of building. I probably won't be talking too much. There's going to be a long series of construction that's going to go down.
Real quick before then, which gifts have we built so far?
We have a zoo, a bank, a fountain, a police department headquarters, the mayor's house, and an expo.
Main thing of the bank is that it lets you borrow money, but obviously that's not something we're looking to do here.
Right, the bank will loan you 10K, and then you pay that back over time with the city. It's really important in vanilla.
And just like real banks, you'll pay interest.
Of course, not a bank without that.
Alright, so Czar gets ready for building mode. Favorite parks include the Portland Rose Gardens is pretty nice. Teddy Roosevelt National Park is beautiful. Yellowstone way up there. Glacier Park in Montana, very lovely. Seconded for Glacier National. Sounds like some pretty nice places to visit to me. Alright, so Czar doing the building thing, and again, you're balancing how you build the residential and commercial because people don't want to live too far from where they work, obviously. SimCity is teaching us about real life when school didn't. Well, I don't know about you, Xanth, but school is where I first played SimCity.
Same.
I don't don't think the class I was in had an actual name, but it was a computer skills class. I choose not to mention what operating system it involved, but that operating system did have SimCity on it. So as far as the classification of the city now, we're in the capital status, and that lasts until 100,000 population. Oh, Oregon Trail in school was classic. I think Oregon Trail stuck around a whole lot longer than it was meant to.
Great game.
I feel bad we didn't get any Carmen San Diego games. That's the one I feel like I missed out on in school.
I had them all. I feel spoiled now.
I had Where in the USA's Carmen San Diego. I never got all the way to the end. Ooh, Number Munchers, yes.
I love Number Munchers.
I would play Prime Number Mode just because no one else did, and I could get high score. I didn't even know what a prime number was. I just was like learning what ones were prime from that. I didn't know the definition. But neither did anybody else, so my records went unchallenged. Oh, reference books, yes. Reference books with games, even to the NES. They were such a thing where they're like, okay, how do we give you an information with the limited space in the game? Oh, we'll print this nice book to go with it that no one will ever read. Chat says, fun fact, there is a Where in North Dakota is Carmen San Diego, with a plan to do all 50 states to be used in the schools. Sadly, didn't sell enough copies and they scrapped the whole project. I might suggest they started with the wrong state. Might have been a skill issue there.
Just a slight one.
Also, I can foresee another problem with that idea, and that is when you get down to Rhode Island and it's like, oh, there she is across the street. Like, you hit her down that much, she ain't got much place to hide. We're here to chill and have some fun, chat.
I'm having fun. How about SNES SuperStars? That's been amazing, hasn't it?
It has, and as somebody who participated a little earlier with Breath of Fire Run, I had fun with that. Smashed my expectations of the time, and then made stuff up to have fun.
Okay, we're about to work some magic here. We're gonna reclaim some land with this bulldozer. This is only possible with the debug mode being enabled, which is something a lot of people still don't even know exists for this game. It's kind of a newer discovery of the debug code that allows all of these things to happen now.
And I take it you're not just interested in a bridge, this is land to build on to get more population?
That's correct. Eventually, the entire map will be filled with land.
Oh, chat just made me think of a really, really terrible joke, but it is not appropriate.
Chat, you're enabling. We need the fun police.
What do red dragons have to do with it? I gotta say, I am very impressed with Nintendo lately giving us these retro game remasters. I mean, they're bringing the good stuff.
I saw Prime recently, and the graphics look super clean. Also, Prime 4 hype. Silex, let's go.
Dragon Warrior remasters 1, 2, and 3. Part of the legacy of Toriyama. Five tricks that will improve your population. Geologists hate this one sneaky thing mayors do.
Really? I didn't know geologists were such a bunch.
I was thinking about this earlier today. I'm not sure if this is fair or not, but how many Flash Facebook games owe their legacy to SimCity? I don't think it's fair to blame SimCity for that, but still.
So if I mess up the spacing on any one of these, then it can cost a whole bunch of time. So you really have to be careful about your placement here.
And I assumed you were doing this to a set pattern that you do the same every time.
There's a few spots where you have to alter the pattern a little bit in order for the zones to be connected and function properly. But for the most part, yeah, there's a set pattern for it.
So one of the things I don't believe we're going to see very much because Czar knows what he's doing is the game has built into it feedback from the residents of the town, and they'll tell you anytime there's an issue of public concern, things that they might care about, like the pollution levels, various things like that, and there's rates to tell you like how big of an issue that it is. But they'll be very vocal about telling you whatever the worst problem in the city is, particularly whenever you go to raise taxes.
Yeah, at the end of the run, we're going to be going over some menus there and having a look at some interesting stats.
Hey, look, an airport. I'm sure nobody will move in next to the airport and then complain about how loud it is. That never happens.
Never.
Okay, another IRL question for chat. What city had your best airport experience? I won't require good, but just, alright, at least this wasn't the worst thing I've ever done with my life.
It was many years ago, but it was SeaTac. I don't travel much though, so.
Let's say back in the day, Tampa Airport. This museum to go through the Orlando airport and have all of the theming.
We're bulldozing away here. It's like ASMR.
Got an answer of Las Vegas airport. I've been to that one. Interesting to see what you can do as soon as you land off the airplane, but I'll leave it at that as we stay family friendly. I'll tell you who had one of the worst experiences I've ever heard of, though. In the last week or so, this plane went something like 12 hours only to end back up where they started.
Oh
They
no.
did a turn back and didn't get to their destination. They went back to the original airport.
That must have been fun.
I don't know if a refund and free ticket would get me to ever fly that airline again. I'll drive.
That would be a hard pass from me. So as you can see, what we're doing here is we're building a frame of these donut zones around the edge of the map. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring higher land value to the edges of the map, which you need to do when you're trying to get this high of a population.
And obviously, you go for some efficiency trying to build the same tiles in sequence and then go back and fill in the other type.
We then want to build a border of zones around these donut blocks to maximize their land value.
Okay, chat, here's another cozy little question for you. What's the best current building simulator game?
Oh. These questions just keep getting better.
kind of dig some roller coaster tycoon touch. Something nice about building a theme park. Chad never thought they would see someone speedrunning this. Welcome to marathons. This is what we do here.
Yeah, the leaderboard actually has a lot of different categories for this game. There's not many runners for this one, because this is one of the more extreme ones.
Chad asks, what's the small spaces between the C's? And that's where Czar keeps building railroads for connecting them.
Correct.
So people have to actually be able to travel from one area to the next, and I guess the railroads are cheaper than roads. Lynchburg Airport was so small we actually walked outside and took portable steps up into an airline. Never done that before. I've done that a couple of times from smaller airports.
Okay, moment of truth coming up. If I did this right, it should connect perfectly to our other series of zones here. And we got it. Okay, let's go.
Nice.
With the debug code enabled, the industrial zones are only needed at the end of the run to bring population to the edges of the map.
This is like the mad scientist version of urban planning. I'd have to disagree. I think what we actually get from urban planners is the mad scientist version of urban planning. You know, it's almost a shame it isn't midnight as you're building all this railroad track. Because then we'd have a great theme song. Let the midnight special speed run tonight for me.
I was hoping we were going to get some crooning in on this. Thank you, Trenton.
If a certain infectious one had been available tonight, I was going to see how much mayhem we could generate.
It's been busy lately. Soon, though. Good to see you, Gremlin. Xanth, welcome.
Okay, Xanth just gave me another train idea. On a warm summer's eve, on a train bound for no place. Met up with speedrunner. He's trying to build 800K.
I'm still clipping this when I see the bug.
I was trying for clips. I had to put more effort into this.
So you can see for the residential zones there, I need 2 tiles of track for them to work properly. And those 2 tiles of track have to be touching 2 tiles of a commercial zone, or the residential zone will just not develop properly. For commercial and industrial zones, you only need 1 tile of track, and it doesn't need to be touching anything else. Getting into the inner workings of this run, it's really weird how things actually function. Definitely nothing like the manual tells you, or even some messages in the game turn out to be completely worthless.
They have their ideas. We have to do our own interpretations of them, though. The official interpretations or suggestion?
Welcome, Time Walker. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I want to take this opportunity to thank Speed Gaming for giving me a chance to showcase this awesome run this evening, and for giving us SNES Superstars, which has been amazing. Thank you, SG Crew, for your hard work.
The third run I've gotten to be involved in, I did Breath of Fire 10% about a week ago at this point. It was last Monday. Then we had that awesome Breath of Fire 80% race yesterday morning. I jumped in the booth for a bit of. That was so much fun.
We're now installing all this park here to bring some land value to the borders of these areas outlying and adjacent to our donut blocks. I like to call this phase Now Park It Out.
Summer days, building a park always. Can you tell me how to get to 800K?
Spot on with these lyrics tonight.
I don't know. I'm totally making this stuff up as I go.
Question in chat, is this Mario paint? It might as well be at this point, right? We're painting the town green.
Parks do raise land value, and they help keep people from complaining. Actually, what I'm surprised to learn is how much parkland they wanted. I always thought you were supposed to, not build too much, but this is way more parkland than I imagined building in a city.
Oh, just wait till you see some of the other gift requirements, like the second train station. You have to build a ridiculously long amount of train track. It's terrible.
Now Chad is having fun making her own lyrics.
Okay, our frame is complete. I think it's almost time to power this monster up.
And one of the risks you take with a nuclear power plant is that if it melts down, the neighboring area becomes uninhabitable. So on easy mode, where we're not just worried about that occurring, it's nice to not lose that land, which would, I imagine, be a run killer.
100% run killer. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this does. Gonna be a lot of messages coming up here. I need to start thinking about gifts now.
Alright, so it's 65K. We are designated a capital at this time. The city is catching up with all of the work that Czar did.
Okay, PDs are placed correctly.
Already up to 72,000.
It'll be coming up quickly now. Yeah, so many weird programming and outs in this game.
So I believe you built the large park there.
Yeah, I like to spread them out.
So the large park, you get 3 of them. It takes building 300 tiles of park for the first, 600 for the second, and 900 for the third. They have the benefit of bringing in $100 a year for the city. $100, chat.
The pollution warning messages are basically just timers and checks the game runs through. So if you're seeing those and you don't have any pollution or little pollution, don't worry about it. We have no industrial zones, but we're still getting a ton of those. It just means the game is going through its checks. Okay, we need to build a series of fire departments now to get that gift.
The fire headquarters has 3 of them that you can unlock. You have to build 6 fire departments for the first, 12 for the second, 18 for the third.
So it turns out by arranging the donut blocks in this pattern and on the exact tile on the map, you maximize the land value of all these gifts. It's like a pattern you can lock into.
Alright, chat. When either you visited the fire department or the fire department visited your elementary school, dog or robot? What did they have with them to show off? Dog or robot from the fire department?
Dog.
Mine had robot.
Yes, we're going full-size airport here. We are not doing any zone stacking for this category.
Was the dog an actual Dalmatian?
No, it was a black lab.
Man, some uncivilized fire departments out there. Never visited the elementary schools. I can't even believe this.
So now that we have all our fire department HQs, we don't need any more fire departments. They're just wasting space and potential population, so we bulldoze those.
This is not an endorsement for actual city planning. Built at your own risk.
Okay, so at this point in the run, we're going to be doing what's called rezoning areas. As you can see here, this residential zone around the mayor's house here, and the commercial zone, did not reach top land value. This is due to a bug, and if it reaches a certain point, you have to bulldoze it to be able to rezone the area and get the high land value out of it. So there's going to be a lot of this.
And by the way, having crossed 100,000 in population, this is now officially a metropolis. Police coming to the school with a horse. I respect that.
As you can see, some zones develop into hospitals or schools. We want to keep those early on, but later on we're going to be bulldozing those once we have all of the library gifts. I want to watch this area for a moment. At our first amusement park. If you're playing for population, always take the amusement park. If you take the casino, then that increases crime over the entire map, not just the local area.
So the amusement park is for 6 schools and hospitals combined. There's a second for 10 schools or hospitals, and I'm taking it that we're not going to get the ones for roads, or will you just build a bunch of roads off to the side like you did the fire departments?
We will be getting the ones from the roads as well. They are crucial in getting the high population. Should probably start doing that now.
Now my notes just say that they add $100 a year for the city.
Yeah, that's their monetary effect. It's the land value that we need. We need a total of 5 amusement park gifts, and it takes quite a bit of roads to get that amount.
$50 kilometers. Which would be around 310 miles, I think. No, 31 miles.
There's that math again.
See, I wasn't even trying to calculate it. It's just I used to run 5Ks, and they're 3.1 miles, so multiply by 10. Just don't do it twice. Okay, so a road-related question. Have you ever driven a diamond interchange section? Intersection. So, not a traffic circle, a diamond interchange. They're a growing thing out there. Been on a couple. I am in fact a fan. They seem to move traffic better, and it doesn't feel like it does in a traffic circle that somebody's going to kill you. I'm sorry, I should be PG. Feel like somebody's going to crash into you just for looking at them the wrong way.
Need one more amusement park.
Alright, somebody else out there has been a couple people haven't heard on. There's YouTube videos on this stuff that if you are ever interested in the mechanics of urban planning, that kind of thing is an interesting topic. Essentially, we know that the way we do our intersections is bad, but it's kind of like, well, what else are we going to do? Getting close to that 200K.
There's our second zoo. We get that from the 3 stadiums. Gotta rezone that. And we're at 200K.
Nice. It doesn't unlock a new city's classification yet.
We're gonna start getting landfill gifts now. We need to use those right away because those can give you a backlog of gifts. And if you have 4 landfill gifts before you get the rest of your gifts, sometimes they can actually get shuffled out of the code and you don't get them at all.
In a shocking turn of events, Zara is building a road!
Yeah, I want that last amusement park gift.
Okay, I'll bite. This is low-hanging fruit for a chat question, but best amusement park you have been to, and the answer cannot involve a cartoon mouse. Best amusement park you've been to, not involving a certain cartoon mouse.
Silverwood.
Mine would be Busch Gardens. Universal Studios was decent, and I've got high hopes for when Epic Universe opens.
Population is based upon your zones and their land value. There's a certain cap for each type of zone. And if you have high land value, you can see that some zones come together and create one zone from 2 zones. That will give you the highest population for that type of zone. What you're seeing here, I'm building a series of residential zones because we need more hospitals and schools. We want the other 2 library gifts at this point. Also notice I built my own power plant for them. That's important because the way power works in this game is kind of wonky. Every time you bulldoze a zone that's already been hooked up to your current grid and put another zone on top of it, that counts as another zone draining from your grid.
Did have Knoxbury Farms, Cedar Point mentioned for favorite parks. So, Czar, when not building urban mega centers, what else do you like to get up to?
We do a lot of retro speed runs. We do a lot of randos on the channel. Zelda rando, Final Fantasy rando, Career Day rando. Lots of rando we do. We do community challenges. We've been doing a lot of Archipelago lately, multi-world with our community. That's been a lot of fun.
Too much sprawl in those zones?
Thanks so much for that shout. Okay, there's our last amusement park. That was a little bit late.
SVJ in the house. Hi, SVJ. A lot of rando is an understatement.
SVJ knows. So if you see those white dots on these R zones here, that's what we don't want. I'm going to be bulldozing those. Well, you're definitely in the right place then, Junkyard Dave. This is one of the more obscure runs, but it does showcase a lot of the interesting aspects and ins and outs of how zones actually work.
So what I'm taking from this is we want them to build the big towers instead of the small houses.
That's correct.
To answer chat, the hospitals and schools. Czar is taking advantage of these gifts that are in the game, and that involves, in this case, having enough hospitals and schools to generate the gift. Going back to my notes, you need 6 schools and hospitals combined to get the first one, and the second one requires 10 combined. And that's how he maximized getting his amusement parks.
That's correct. A lot of the gift requirements are not very adaptive for speedruns because you have to go out of your way and do a lot of things, especially in this category where you are going for max population or close to it. The other categories are quite fast compared to this category because this category requires a lot of micromanagement. You have to rezone a lot of different areas.
Yeah, I imagine you wouldn't care about these little houses if you were just going to 500, because you'd have enough space that it wouldn't matter. Wild guess.
If you accidentally bulldoze a gift, then that can cost you the run. That's really costly. So the reason I'm rezoning these areas, as I said earlier, is they will never turn over to the high land value. There's a bug in the game that causes them to lock in to that class of land value. We need one more library gift. And then at that point, we're going to be looking for every school and every hospital we currently have and bulldozing those. I then have to put residential zones in their place and babysit them to make sure they don't become hospitals and schools again, to maximize population.
These zones are not being the most cooperative with you tonight. I assume that's RNG, or at least close enough.
Yes, it's close enough. I do SimCity speedruns from time to time. I like to do the higher population categories. As for speedruns, I also do Final Fantasy Legend, and Legend 2, and Legend 3. We are not getting what we need here. We are currently also doing a 4-job fiesta on my channel. My first official 4-job fiesta. It's been a lot of fun.
What do you have so far?
And for those unfamiliar, 4-job fiesta is a Final Fantasy V job challenge. I got Monk, Red Mage, Samurai, and Hunter, which I'm quite pleased with, actually.
Yeah, in my total inexperience, that sounds like something you could work with.
Please tell me that's enough. We got it. Let's go. Okay. Time for the next phase of building. That was a little slow, but not too bad. Okay, what we need to do now is check the map and look for the lowest land value donut blocks. That's where we want to place these gifts in. I can tell it's right here. Oh, wait, no, that one hasn't activated yet. Okay.
Yeah, we don't need hospitals. Nobody's gonna get sick here. It's perfect.
Okay, now we got to bulldoze all this out of here.
They were always traffic jammed anyways.
Time-wise, we're looking pretty good right now. I'm pretty far ahead at the moment. Of course, timer is off. We are about, I think, 4 or 5 minutes off.
Maybe. I'm not gonna look at the timestamps of when people were shouting at me.
Yeah, from this point, all hospitals and schools have to go because they're just kind of dead weight toward max population. And it's kind of a pain because they like to come back over and over, so you have to watch the residential zones that they don't do that.
In other words, we don't need no education.
Yes, thank you. I was hoping to get that reference in at this point. You're a smart man, Trenton.
I aim to please. It helps the more tired I get.
past
Holy,
Trenton's
so I can
bedtime.
do stand-up comedy at 4 a.m.
So our task of building long stretches of things that we hardly use is not over yet. We have to build an even longer stretch of train track, and you'll see just how egregious that is coming up soon to get the second train station.
First train station took 50 kilometers, which was all of the roads you just saw were 50 kilometers. And then the second requirement is 200 kilometers. So all of the roads that Czar just destroyed times 4. That's a lot of railroad.
It sure is. I'm gonna build a long stretch of parks here to ensure I get all 3 park gifts.
Large parks available from 300 tiles, 600 tiles, and 900 tiles of parkland.
There it is, nice.
And to answer chat, Czar did underflow the money to get up to 9999999, however many nines.
Yeah, the money cheat is required for this category, or you're looking at like a 7 or 8 hour run.
To answer chat, the industrial areas are going to come later.
Industrial zones will be placed around the borders of the map and on the right side here at the end of the run to ensure that we get high land value. At least the highest land value that can be attained for industrial zones. Late in the game, commercial zones and residential zones, they're very temperamental, and it's hard to get them to develop with high land value, or even at all at some point, but industrial zones will develop anywhere on the map.
It's a little over a third of the way to the goal so far.
What I'm doing now is rezoning all these hospitals and schools.
Nobody's allowed to get sick tonight, chat.
There's always that one zone that's really stubborn. It's like this is the one.
When you finish this phase, what's the next big goal?
When this phase is completed, we're going to be constructing the train tracks, and that's going to take quite a while to get those set out and then bulldozed. Okay, these residential zones are now developing. Let's check our totals to be sure. We have 0 hospitals and we have 0 schools. Let's go.
But don't worry, there's plenty of sports ball stadiums.
We have 3 of those. 2 of those are going to be bulldozed, however, at some point, so there's only going to be 1 that remains.
Meanwhile, Czar's been working on the railroad, all the livelong speed run. I did think of that one in advance.
So I put 1 gap when I'm building the tracks here, because if you have tracks side by side, it causes an excessive amount of lag. And as we all know, when speedrunning, minimizing lag is paramount.
And again, for those who were here when Czar was dealing with the roads, he now has to build 4 times as much railroad track.
Yeah, it's really obscene how much track. I don't know how they expected casual players to build this much train track. Most people don't even know about the second train station because of this ridiculous requirement.
Sounds like a European developer, and they just assumed trains would be the default mode of transportation. Hey Dave, there's plenty of residential space where they can be a social media influencer from too when they grow up. No, wait a minute, that's the opposite of growing up. Never mind.
Question up in chat about the train stations. We just need the train station for the land value, so we can place it into one of our donut blocks and ensure that it will result in 4 top zones. Every gift is important in this category, because 800k is nearing the cap of what can actually be put on the map without zone stacking. Zone stacking is a type of method of building zones where you can bulldoze part of one zone and then overlap another zone on it and get twice as much population. It's very tedious, however. I've seen population counts get as high as 1.2 million using the method, but it takes hours without frame skip.
Who would spend hours building a city? That's just crazy talk.
We have automatons for that now. Let's see where we're at for the train track. Okay, I don't think that's updated yet. I hope that hasn't updated yet, because it seems like we put more than that. Okay, there's the first train station. Scan our map here real quick to find the lowest land value. And it looks like it's going to be in the top. Oh, it's close. I think bottom left here will be best. We're now at 172. Okay, it's 174. We need a little bit more.
Yeah, it requires 200 kilometers worth. See, this is where I could do math, but it would betray me, and it's way too late at night for that.
Wise move. We're getting close now. Come on, game. Are we playing SimCity or are we playing Snake here?
Why not both? 2 games, 1 controller, after all.
Those type of challenges have always fascinated me.
There was a while I was trying to see if I could do it with FF1. There we go.
Okay. If my math is correct, and I'm hoping that it is, there are only 2 gifts that remain, and that will be the Mario statue and the second windmill.
Close to
Rezone that.
300,000 on the population now.
Creeping up on 3. I have to be careful when bulldozing here. If I hold the input too long, then...
Is there a pop-up when you hit every 100k edition? Like, is there anything significant that shows you hit 800,000?
There is a message at 500k and at 600k. After that, it's just your own count. There's no pop-up.
Well, the 500,000 makes sense because that's the maximum classification of the city. I'm surprised there's another one at 600.
Yeah, the 600 was kind of like an Easter egg bonus that was put in. Not many people found that.
Okay, fair enough. I suppose it goes to show what they intended you to build the city to, and then they're like, oh, yeah, you're really good at this.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure they never intended for anyone to get that far past 500k. Well, the brownouts, the electrical grid logic in this game and coding is very strange. A lot of it I've learned in my testing has to do with positioning, and another aspect of it has to do with how many zones you've had connected to your grid already that you bulldozed. Because once you bulldoze a zone, even if you put a new zone on top of it, your power plant will still read 2 zones that it's draining your power from, and that can be a problem. Usually late in this run, we end up having a lot of power plant problems, and I have to fill a lot of areas with power lines and power plants in an attempt to remedy it. I've had runs for this category where I've had as low as 16 power plants, and then I've had runs where I've needed 20 power plants. It's just really buggy, and the more zones you have, the worse it gets.
Bugs in a video game? Unheard of. In the last 30 seconds.
Yes, that's what it has to be. It's the aging infrastructure. All right, we're almost done with the Great Bulldoze. After this, I'm going to be checking around, making sure everything is working properly, functioning properly. And then we're going to move on to the next point of this run, which is going to be the Dragon Shift. We're going to fill the entire center of the map with this type of building pattern, also known as the Czar Shift. You can see by our donut blocks there, in building them in the way I did with the commercial zones and the residential zones together, you ensure that you'll get a top zone without having to rezone any of it, and that's very efficient. Okay, that's developing. Why is this not developing? And why do I see a hospital here?
It's like people don't want to live next to a railroad station or something.
Gotta babysit these R zones here. That's 300K. We get another landfill at 300K.
As these landfills come in at 200,000, 250, 300,000, 400,000, and 450,000 population. And apparently there's several that come up based on how many open spaces you have left on the map.
Yes. The game is calculating a percentage of the map that you filled, and once you reach a certain percentage, it will give you another landfill gift. Okay, that's good. No hospitals, no schools, right? We have one hospital somewhere, damn it.
Chad, I told none of you to get sick.
This is probably the biggest RNG part of the run right here, is just having to watch these zones and make sure they're developed properly. Sometimes it goes quick, sometimes, yeah, there's a hospital right back there.
We don't do that kind of thing around here.
The game's code is so starved for hospitals and schools at this point that it forces them, and you're very likely to get them. Okay, that's it.
Okay, I love the Dave Rant emote. That's great.
Some fire emotes in here. Keep them coming, chat. Okay, here we go. Let's move on to our next phase.
Alright, so if more people are going to move into this wonderful little city we've got going here, with all the amenities you could ask for, and don't try asking for more, because the answer is no. But to get them to move in, we have to build more zones for them to move into, because we've pretty well filled up most of those areas that we have so far. So Zara's gonna add a little bit more of some commercial and residential land for people to build their stuff on.
So as silly as this method looks, it actually maximizes your spacing and land value and making sure your zones in here are functioning correctly.
Yes, this needs to be built around the principle of the train track doing all your connections for two blocks at a time.
Exactly. So I have to be careful here. Lag can cause missed inputs. If any one of these zones is one tile off and I miss it and have to come back later, then it's a massive time loss.
By a space. Get that staggered build to get all the way through here. Chat discussing what kids would say to their parents in this city about all the railroads. I mean, the kids are probably just doing skateboard tricks on the railroads, honestly.
Time to fill in some more land here. You want to make sure to leave some water because, as I said, you can get backlogged on the landfill gifts and then not have any space, and you won't get your last two gifts, so that can be an issue. So make sure you leave water if you're running this category until the point that you have all the gifts.
Imagine people complaining about the city being on fire. Who would do that? Does this look like Rome? We managed to go to a whole hour or so without thinking about Rome. And as I recall, the ability to fill land in over the water is based on the debug mode.
Yes.
And then it's just standard to use the bulldozer over top of the water.
Yep.
Alright, chat, feel free to try that at home, but only in the video game. Do not attempt to drive a bulldozer into the nearest body of water. That is not a recommend.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Only in the video game. In the video game, try this at home. Already too late. I was thinking Galso is not here, or we would have instructions unclear. Alright, so a lot of just stacking up the construction squares as we need them to be.
Lag is causing missed inputs here.
300,000 people, they're slowing down the internet. I can't speak to what maps would be best to build on, but I imagine there are some speedrun guides of this out there.
I would imagine so.
So even though population-wise we're not halfway, this feels like you're significantly over halfway on the run because of all the building, and then it's more about getting it to fill in.
Yeah, the latter part of the population comes in very quickly. And yes, that is correct on the map. The second being map number 137.
So it sounds like the challenge mode option is pick the map with the most water.
For a challenge, yeah. Okay, those are filled in. Now we have to fill everything in between here with parks to maximize that land value. Highest water to land, I'm not exactly sure on that one. Another aspect of the game is if you go to the go-to menu and go out of your game and start a new one, and go to the generate map screen. There are 1,000 new maps that are there. So there's actually 2,000 maps for this game. I'm not sure
That's
how
a
many
lot of
people have
maps
plotted
for
out
a
the
little.
alternate, but
That's a lot of maps for a little SNES game like this.
sure is.
So does this end up staying as Parkland, or is it only temporarily Parkland?
This is temporary. This is going to be replaced by residential zones once these commercial zones have all had time to develop, and most of them will end up topping out, actually. It's a really clever idea for getting high land value here in the middle of the map.
It does amuse me that apparently the game doesn't really care about the rails all actually being connected to work. I think you said to get to the other 1,000, you just had to quit out of the game and go back in.
Yeah, you go to the go-to menu, and then you go back to the title screen, and from there you can find the new maps. Okay, wow, so someone did plot out the alternate series. That's fascinating to me, as a longtime fan of this game, and having plotted out a lot of its mechanics. That's really cool.
I am going to be stepping away for just a minute here.
No problem, Trenton. You can take your time. Well-earned break. I'll try to keep our chat entertained. We haven't had a disaster yet, so that's good. Commentator's curse, right? The puns are coming in. I love it. Keep the puns coming. So we're over halfway through this run now. I think it's time to start requesting to the chat. Do you want to see Bowser destroy the city at the end of the run, chat? Do you want to summon Bowser? Let's see it if you want that.
You already know they want that.
The chat is known to be quite bloodthirsty.
So my next question for chat is, What game have you done the most work on for analyzing the mechanics? You have done your own research in trying to figure out how a thing works in that game.
Oh gosh, for me it's got to be this game or Final Fantasy Legend 2. Or maybe even Legend 3. I've done a lot of work into those games.
Mine would be between Final Fantasy 1 because you know I like my solo runs. So figuring out how to make those work was a thing. And the other contender would be an SNES game that unfortunately I don't have anywhere near prepped to speedrun, or I would have submitted it. But Bahamut Lagoon. That's another long one in have nowhere near finished routing, and I don't even know that I got halfway. There used to be a task, but I believe I've improved the strategies underneath it. Bigfoot for the NES. Now there's pulling a name out. Actually, no joke, I was looking into Bigfoot earlier tonight because I had this memory that Bigfoot once raced a riverboat in a river.
Hmm.
I did in fact find confirmation of it. In 1985, the monster truck Bigfoot raced a riverboat on the Chattahoochee River.
Facts you won't find anywhere else, folks.
I wouldn't have even mentioned it, except Chad's answer to working on a game was Bigfoot. I mean, Bigfoot was still even pretty new at that time. Bigfoot was invented, I think, in 74 or 75.
Bigfoot is older than me.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that's some pretty good age now, but when you're talking about NES games, Monster Trucks had only existed for like a decade. As Chad discusses what speedruns have taught them about games they thought they knew, just remember, not one person routed everything in one game, as far as I know. And if they did, it's not optimized.
How do you make sure all these are powered up? Welcome, Lyra.
Gotta be sure your city has the power. A lot of fun folk hanging out with us tonight. That was a sports stadium, right?
Yes.
Used to be. Like the Pontiac Silverdome, it goes bye-bye. Wait, they did actually get rid of the Pontiac Silverdome, didn't they? That's not just sitting there still?
They did.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's see how this is going to come out.
Alright, starting at 318,000 population. Brownouts are reported. Czar trying to get past that with the additional power plant. Were those schools that we were getting rid of?
They are gone.
The population's gone up 10K so far.
Okay, these seem to be developing good.
Starting to fill in. About 12,000 so far in population. And gaining.
Go away, hospitals. Sadly, we are going to have to deal with hospitals one more time in this run, as all of the gaps between those commercial zones in the middle of the map are going to be filled with residential zones.
They paved paradise and put up a residential house.
Yeah, this is a bad one here. Come on now. Don't you do it to me again. Okay, now it's working. All right, so this run is the hurry up and wait phase of this run right now. We need these commercial zones in the middle of the map to develop to the point that they are almost full.
Right? So I guess I should throw out another question for chat. What is something that you would build in a city if they let you? Like, they give you full control on behalf of the city to build a thing. What's that thing you want to build? You know, aquarium, dog park. What comes to mind? What would you like to build in your city? Real city, not video game city.
A museum of alternative energy sciences. Didn't see that one come on, did you?
No, I was looking at my notes.
400K coming up.
Yeah, about halfway on the population now. Someone wants to build a nuclear power plant. Okay, interesting choice. The Shire. Video game museum with demos. Respect. Cat Cafe. Sure. Castle Grayskull. Now that's an interesting possible tourist attraction. But can you actually go in Grayskull, or do you just have to look at it from the outside? I would do a nice kind of animal nature park that has plenty of trails for walking and or bike riding. I'm being asked why have Castle Grayskull if you can't live in it. Look, I'm not the one who suggested it, now am I?
Just to say you have it. You can take pictures of it. You can put it on the housing market. I hear castles are so hot right now.
I mean, for the longest time, the American Gothic house has been there, but you couldn't go in it. That's the one with the painting with the farmer and the pitchfork and his daughter. That's called the American Gothic house, and it's kind of a tourist attraction. People will go and they'll stand outside with a pitchfork and take the one picture. This one lady used to rent it and live in the house, and she started a website called The World Needs More Pie.
The world needs more of those websites.
And we've got a bunch of residential places for people to live, just some of them are further away from the commercial properties than others. But let's just say we're not sending building inspectors to the back room. Chat wants to know when you start building residential again, and I believe what you said is we're getting this commercial land maxed out first using the parkland, and then the residential will go in between.
Yes, that's correct. Residential zones will be slotted in between these commercial zones. We're also going to be building a bunch of industrial zones at that point along the edges of the map.
Chad asks a very silly question: how much more pie does the world need? Because, of course, the answer is yes.
A question about the view. It's kind of a hit and miss. In my testing, for certain other speedruns, it can be more useful. But for this speedrun, you have to really cycle through the notifications and be checking up on how things a lot. So I usually just refrain from using the view, just because there's so much more micromanagement needed in this run.
That one commercial plot doesn't want to fill in yet. Okay, guess there's one.
Couple disconnected zones there. They're going to happen no matter what you do. There's just so many. And yes, it is a really interesting run. Definitely one of the more obscure SimCity runs. You think 3-hour speedrun and you think RPG games. This is not one I think many would think of, but for this lofty population count, it really does take about that long.
And obviously a lot of forethought on the planning, or this all wouldn't work out. It's not just one pattern that you're repeating over and over again.
Yeah, and as I said, if you make one spacing mistake and don't catch it till later, it can rip the run. Our donut blocks are looking very good. We've got max potential. All of those zones have topped out. The little strips of rail are so the zones will function correctly. Turns out in this game, the rail doesn't have to be connected unless you're dealing with certain types of zones like residential. And even then, there's unique rule sets in play.
And welcome to the Megalopolis.
Yay, we did 500K. Sub 2 even, let's go. Best gift time. Where are we going to put Mario? I think the answer is clear.
And the Mario statue has the benefit of raising land values.
So again, we have to rezone this area because those residential zones will never turn over to high land value. Don't you dare turn into a hospital or school. Thank you.
How the hell went good?
Yeah, many people didn't make it to this phase of the game. Even fewer are going to see the next prompt at 600K.
Yeah, you still have so much land to fill in, too.
Another reason I don't use the view is that it can backlog your messages at times. And in my testing, if you don't get those pollution warning messages, then your city is kind of developing at a slower tick. The pollution warning messages are actually something you want to see in the speedrun because it means the game is cycling through all of its checks.
Imagine wanting text boxes in a speedrun.
It's SimCity. This is an unorthodox game, even more unorthodox speedruns. There's actually 2 categories for the max population. One category is the highest amount of population in the shortest amount of time, which I think is 816,000 in 2 hours and 30 minutes. And then the other category is just the highest population you can get in any amount of time, which I believe was 916,000 in approximately 4 hours.
I take it those are both without the zone stacking, so they're not getting to 1,000,000.
Yeah, those are both without zone stacking. Zone stacking, you're looking at like a 7-8 hour run easy.
That's an interesting question. Is the city revenue positive at this point?
I don't believe so because we have no tax street.
Okay, low taxes to get people to move in.
Yeah, and yeah, we've already spent almost 300K here. Only the money cheat can enable such a thing. Okay, this is all developing now the way I want. It's time to move on to our final building phase. I think. I gotta check the middle. And all these zones topped out here really nicely, without any gifts needed.
One little spot. Ah, there it goes.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, so Czar used the parkland to get the commercial properties to build up the way he wanted to, and now we don't need those parklands. We need residences for people to live in. Obviously, people want convenient access to their job locations. So we just have to fill this in with the template that has already been set for all of those residential lands to go on. That's a lot of residents to accommodate. Not living in the offices anymore. Well, not still in the offices because time is frozen at the moment. But soon they get to live outside the office. Okay, well, since we're on the topic of residences, chat, what is one thing that you would put in your dream home? Just a thing, not the whole dream home, but a thing within that dream home that you would like to have.
Solar battery.
A simple man, like an indoor pool. Alright, we're getting some answers here. Sauna, gotta respect that. A single banana on the floor. Okay. That's not gonna age well, is all I can say about that. Arcade room. Absolutely gotta respect that. And need a toilet. Well, that's very practical of you. A Lego table is an awesome answer. Pizza oven, massive respect. Transporter room. Well, the problem is if you've got the only one, that might not work out so well. Scrooge McDuck style money pool. Unfortunately, you forgot to put any money in it when you wrote that answer, so I'm sorry.
Womp womp.
You can get chocolate coins to fill it with. Although, again, that's not going to age well. I feel like chat has put some thought into this question previously. Chat would like to know if you could add anything from SimCity 2000 to this, what would that one thing be?
If I played SimCity 1000, I might have an answer, but I don't know, so.
Get wrecked, chat. That's what you get for being unprofessional on the question asking. I make it look easy, don't I? Did not put thought into the banana on the floor answer and regret it heavily. Well, sorry, but you're stuck with it now. That's all you get is a banana.
I'll take what I can get.
At least you can snack on it. I mean, you're not going to snack on an arcade machine. To answer chat, you don't remember being able to bulldoze water into usable land. That is an option made available with the debug mode, which is enabled for this run. Oh, we're getting industrial around here.
It is now time.
I think you requested puns from chat earlier. Someone says, I think you can snack on an arcade machine for a very long time. They pack a lot of bites into them.
Point on the wall.
For the rails, couldn't give you a deep dive explanation of them, but a summary explanation is they enable the transportation instead of the roads, and you just need to have some kind of transportation attached to the tiles to make them happy.
Correct.
So if we're talking about what arcade machines that Lara needs to put in the dream home room, I submit Ninja Turtles. Classic quarter eater, perhaps, of Operation Wolf. depending on if we're counting it, maybe a nice iRacing simulator. Chad having some fun discussing arcade games now. Now I'm trying to think how you could make possibly a SimCity arcade game.
Hmm.
I suppose the easiest way is you could fight the invading monsters. Chad now discussing games that need to be brought to modern consoles, which does seem to be a thing that's happening now, and I'm here for it.
Hey, Miria, welcome, Meow.
So got our industrial spaces, got the railroads so that they'll work correctly, and now some parks to help make everything nice. And
It's go
now is
time.
it managing the residential squares? Alright, 500,000 out of 800,000. That's more than 60%. Nice full map.
Yes, getting around in this town is quite an adventure.
Building happening, that's what we want to see. Keep giving me shoutouts. I'm gonna feel like I have to actually do something. Maybe some FF5 this week.
Done some great work tonight.
There's been a lot of fun with this marathon. Personally, I did a PB on Breath of Fire Kin Percent. Actually, way faster than I expected.
Oh, you got the PB. Nice. GG.
Yeah, I was hoping for a 245, and I came in at about a 230.
Okay, how many we got here? One hospital, one school still left. We gotta find them.
Who snuck a hospital in here? No one's allowed to get sick in this town. Those are the rules.
It's draconian law, I tell you. I'm ruling these people with an iron fist.
We do have doctors, though. That's why Cossack is allowed. $570, so it's been a little slow to grow right now. Of course, you're not just letting it run wild because no hospitals.
Yeah, we're still kind of nitpicking spots here and there. I think this is our last one.
And there's no bad things that build up on the industrial squares. They're all fine.
Yeah, and industry is very low maintenance. You just build it and it comes up anywhere on the map. I'm done, game. There you go.
600,000.
There's still a hospital somewhere. There. No more hospitals, no more schools.
So we should get a pop-up here.
Oh, I pushed the button too soon. Anyway, there's fireworks on that message, and Dr. Wright is wearing 4 different color suits. It's pretty cool. I might do some more 4-job Fiesta at the conclusion of this run. I'm ready to get back in.
This is like, where's Waldo except with hospitals? Sure.
This one commercial zone here is being a pain. This is usually where the power problems happen on the map, is this area. So I have to watch here.
Industry starting to build up.
Why are we losing power here? We should not be losing power here. This happens every run. The best thing you can do is try to mitigate it. Sometimes it's much worse than this. And as you can see, there's kind of a crawling bug. We fixed that part, but now it's kind of moved to another area here.
Does the harbor work without water and power?
It does, yes. The seaport will serve its intended function without being powered up, and by not powering it up, you save on pollution. And the same is for the case with the airport. And another good reason to not power up the airport is because you can prevent plane crashes. The plane will almost always crash, it's usually very frequent.
That sounds unpleasant.
Yeah, not something you want, especially in a run like this.
So now you're looking around for power failures?
Just kind of waiting for let things develop and run their course right now. 700K, I'll start scanning again.
Makes sense.
That was a quick 700K. We're moving fast now.
Didn't even cost you $500,000 to build all this.
Hey, what's up, Drum? Good to see you. Drum is going to be coming up next after this run with some Earthbound. That's going to be awesome.
Ape?
Do a quick Mac check here for Power Grid. Land value turned out pretty good this time. We got a little bit going on there and here.
It had that one residential in the northern part of the map was missing.
Looks like it's all
More
developing
industrial
good.
spaces could build up. In 1959, were there a lot of 700K population cities? Yes. Are a lot of what's happened in between, honestly, is the definition of the city expanded, and we got the metropolitan area instead of just the city proper. So most of the your million population cities are over more land than what we used to count. But you know, your New York City, your LA, Mexico City, London, all those places, yeah, they were over 700,000. Although, fun fact, for most of human history, cities were demographically negative, meaning there would be, uh, you would lose population from city instead of adding to it over the generations. People would have to move in to keep the city population up. In 1960 census, there were 12 cities over 700,000. I mean, half of those are free. New York, Chicago, LA, Boston. Miami was probably not that big yet.
We've got to address this power issue here. It's affecting these zones.
Those industrial spots weren't filling in. Weird that one has a power problem when it's literally wired into the power plant next door.
Yeah, that's part of the power grid in this game. you get this high population. The game isn't expecting you to cram this many zones in the map, so. Okay, there, that's fixed now.
750K, we're getting closer. So yeah, the biggest thing that changed with the history of cities and why they start growing in the last 200 years is sanitation. Our sanitation got better, which cut down on disease and made it easier to live in cities.
Evolution at work.
And it's at this point chat realizes they were tricked into being part of an educational stream.
It's been an educational run.
Need another 36,000. Fun fact, nuclear power plants require electrical power to run. Yes, and they will always, always, always have backup generators. Because if anything goes wrong, you need to be able to pump water quickly.
All right, it's almost time for our final push here for building. We're going to be rezoning some low land value areas, throwing some industrial zones in there.
There's a lot of police stations in this city.
There is. You want to keep police stations around your donut blocks to keep their land value high. Middle of the map, not so much of a concern. It turns out crime rate actually affects very little in this game aside from land value.
Well, you own the city, not the businesses. Of course, our Mario statue. $775.
We're in the home stretch.
Chat, which game has your best high score achievement? Or let me rephrase that, favorite high score achievement. This, whatever game it is, you're proudest to say that you have a high score of it.
I think it'd actually have to be this game for me. And the population count, 816K, that's kind of a score, so.
I think the first time I got SMB3 to over 50 lives is what I would count. Oh, NES Tetris. Yeah, getting to 100K, 100 lines NES Tetris was pretty big for me.
Question in the chat about how many nuclear power plants are needed to run the city. It really varies depending upon the size of your city and how you've been building it. For cities of this size, it can range anywhere between 16 to 20. As I said, the power in this game is really kind of buggy.
$18,000 to go.
Those eye zones are kind of stagnated there. Let's get some more track, maybe.
So, Zara, are there any other goals for you in this game? Do you feel like you've kind of gotten all of them that are within reach, or is there something else you're still hoping to do?
There is another goal I have in mind. It's 900K. I'm pretty sure that there is a method of building that you can top out almost every zone, even without gifts. I've just yet to discover it. I'm kind of scratching at the surface of it. But yeah, 900K, that's going to be the next big one for sure.
Boy, this game, complaining about the rail system. Look, what do you want? For it to actually go around the city?
There is no fixing the rail system at this point, citizens.
We got what we got. We have to build underground. Well, a decade has passed. We started this run in 1950. It's now 1960.
Finally, that eye zone is developing. Looks like our track worked there.
Will that one fill in before we hit the goal?
Should. We're under 5K now.
Get celebratory emotes of choice ready, chat. It's almost time.
We're almost there. Also, we need your summoning power, chat. We have to summon Bowser. The city's not going to destroy itself. If you got Bowser emotes, let's see them. Or even Bowser-like emotes.
$3,000 to go. I'm kind of out of questions, but chat, are you glad you stayed up for this run? How about that for a question?
1K. Come on,
For
town, we can do it.
East Coast, we were in this for the long haul.
Sub 3 can happen. Under 1K.
How does this compare to the usual game date for getting 800?
Much earlier, because of the money cheat. Boom!
G to the G, 800,000.
Oh, and it dipped back under.
It was 800,000 when I was putting my GGs in chat. What happened? It was there and then it went down.
It was there. I've got it on frame count. Let's take a look at some menus now. Let's take a look at our voice here. The public is still favoring me.
2-1, that'll get you reelected.
A little lower than usual. Usually I'm about 65-35, but look at some totals here. That's a lot of commercial. We had a lot of commercial in this run. 3 undeveloped zones. That's kind of blah. 20 power plants. That's high. We got kind of jacked around on power this seed. 41 PDs. That's actually pretty low.
For the marathon purposes.
All right, chat. It's time. Let's do it. It took about 2 hours and 50 minutes to build this. The timer's off a bit. How long will it take to destroy it?
How low will it go?
Oh, and the fire started right at the nuclear power plant. I love it. And it got put out immediately because it's right by the fire department headquarters. Flooding actually does nothing at this point because there's no water.
IQ emotes of choice.
Danger.
Another fire right next to the fire department.
A tornado. Curse you, geoengineering.
That happened right near the fire. It's a fire tornado.
It's the earthquake. The earthquake is by far the worst disaster because it affects the whole map.
Only lost like 4,000 people in all this.
There's chaos and pandemonium everywhere. And I'm loving every minute of it.
Didn't know I needed to have Ghostbusters quotes ready.
Your summoning work, chat. Here he is.
Was that supposed to be his legs running, or is he on one of Lemmy's clown?
I think he's riding the Lemmy ball there. Let's find him. Where is he? So, funny fact, last run I did, we destroyed the city and Bowser actually vanished right after going into the zoo. So, maybe all he wants is to go to the zoo.
Maybe he became an exhibit.
Oh no, Mario's in trouble. There's fires raging all around him. Where are you, Bowser? Show yourself. There he is.
There he is. Bowser Smash.
He's going right for the center of buildings, too. If any disaster or monster hits the center of a building, the whole building erupts in flames.
That's a nice homage they put in. It reminds me of Punch-Out putting Mario as the referee. They didn't exactly have permission to do that. They just did it.
Bowser's rampaging. Look at all these fires already.
Down to 80K on our population already. I'd ask chat what their favorite disaster was, but I mean, obviously.
Plane fire, flood can happen on its own by chance. Helicopter crash can happen if you power up the airport. Tornado can happen. Boy, this Bowser has been on a rampage for a long time. He's angry. And he just vanished. This time he vanished into the park. Wow.
He just wanted to go to a picnic.
Wow, look at all this. You can hear buildings collapsing everywhere. This is a disaster.
Population dropped 150K.
How are there still 644,000 people living in this disaster?
Maybe just nobody's around to do the new census.
These numbers are disinfo.
So as this counts down and Drumbortist gets ready for another run, I'll just say, chat, it's been fun. I hope you had fun. I tried to help keep everybody entertained through all this, and Zara, it's been fun as always.
Thank you so much, Trenton, and thank you for letting me know about this happening. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Speed Gaming. Mario's in trouble. Will Mario survive? Be sure to stay tuned. We got Drumbortist coming up with the Earthbound run.
Chat says people probably complain about fire in the vote now. They can't complain about fire if there's no voters left to vote.
Here it is, confirmed. Fire. That's hilarious. Thank you, chat. It's been a lot of fun. Hope to do it all again soon. And SNES Superstars rolls on. Mario's still surviving. He's got a hot foot. Isn't that an enemy in Mario 3? Oh no, he's gone! RIP! The run has just been validated, everybody. Mario has been destroyed.
Bowser finally won one.
GG.
Imagine the other half of this city, though, that doesn't care about the fires. They're like, nah, it's fine. The place was overcrowded anyways.
I'm on my hair growth journey. This is
Let's see, I can't do a very good Mario, but... Oh, no!
I think that was pretty good. I give that a 9 out of 10.
SimCity is the official prequel to Mario is Missing. Not wrong.
The center of town has been gutted. Oh, hey, look, the train survived.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
At the Midnight Special.
I know that's you triggering my alerts, Sensi. My alerts are supposed to be disabled, but they're deceiving me. So yeah, as we reflect on our destruction here, and I think we've all grown a lot closer over the past 2.5, 3 hours. Thank you all so much for watching this run. Let's give Drum the hype for his next run coming up. I hope you're all having a great weekend. Thank you, Speed Gaming, for hosting. Thank you, Trenton, for coming in and commentating. Thank you, Feasel, for all that you do. Thank you, Apathy Duck, for corresponding and setting up the schedule for me. Thank you, residents, for demanding a stadium at this point. We'll call this Fallout Stadium.
I mean, that's nicer than them asking you to, do something about the fire. And looks like we're clear.
Alrighty.